My name is James Murtha, and I care deeply about trying to make an impact to give back to people in my situation because I was given a lot of support and a big head start by going to a phenomenal rehab hospital, Craig Hospital. And so I feel like I want to pay it forward and give back. And so that's really important to me. And also, I receive care from my state's Department of Health and Human Services, and it's incredible to have that. And it still is a struggle because like they only give so many hours, and so I have to like try to get by during the day without that. But I'm trying to advocate for that. I've met with like local state representatives and senators to talk about this, and also I serve on a federal government council to create better support for family caregivers. And part of that I'm working into is my feelings on supporting direct caregiver staff from outside the family who come in and help people with needs, because they need support too. And that's something that I've been working on for the last year and a half, and it's been a really neat experience. And I also really enjoy music. That's my passion. Rock, alternative rock, hip hop. I enjoy electronic music, primarily house. Yeah, just like a little bit of everything. Before my accidents, yeah, it was very active. Hiked, mountain biked, ran a lot. So just doing a lot with my body, and it wasn't all good. I mean, I kind of had struggles with finding meaning and purpose in my life, and so that was something that was pretty challenging. That was different before the injury as opposed to like where I'm at now. I was 25, so I was a couple years out of college. I was living in Colorado. I was actually in Denver, and I had moved there in June of 2014. And then 5 months later, another one of my friends from Michigan moved out there. And he was living in the Rocky Mountains near Aspen, Colorado, in a town named Snowmass Village. And I went out there to visit him, went mountain biking with his roommate the very next morning after we met up, and hit a trail that I was uncomfortable with, caught an edge, and fell over the handlebars of my bike and became paralyzed right on the spot. That was October 5th, 2014. CD 4-5 incomplete. And starting out, I didn't have any use of my arms, and slowly I was able to use my left arm, and then my right arm didn't come along until a year after the fact. And arm strength is still getting better, but right arm is still coming along to catch up. But I'm very, very blessed and thankful to be able to just do what I can do. Primarily, they were like mental barriers, like attitude and belief. I had a lot of support from family and from friends, and so I had a lot of the basic level needs like shelter, food, and had transportation. But believing in what I was capable of was a pretty big barrier. And what helped me was meeting other people who had been injured and were living their lives, ultimately meeting those people and becoming friends with those people. That's what got me over those humps. At my hospital, I had a rehab psychologist, and him and I hit it off, and we were good buds almost from the start. And when I was about to discharge, he said, "Hey, you should really think about going into the helping profession. I think you'd be excellent at it." And I really respected him, and I took it literal and decided to go into counseling. And all things factored in, it just felt like a good direction for me to head in. Like I went to graduate school and I went skydiving and stuff like that. But I'd say like personally, the most surprising accomplishments have been what I've been able to do to adapt. Like for instance, I got to wear these braces on my hands to be able to keep my hands from flopping down, like curling at the wrist, because I don't have that control in my forearms to be able to curl my hands back. But what I've done is I put magnets with tape on the wrist guards so that I can use forks and grab things off of tables that are magnetic. And then I also started using a back scratcher with my braces. I like put it through the brace, and it's great because I can lift stuff up off tables. I can push stuff around, pull it to me. And I also got a magnet on that, so I can like reach for like something that's far off, like a fork or something. And like, of course, scratch my head and stuff like that. But there's so many uses for that. Like, it's just like such a boost to come up with ideas and workarounds, and also like, other people do the same. Like, a lot of people who are in this situation are just so creative and come up with really cool stuff. I really want to be as successful as I'm capable of, and in an ideal world, like, I'd make enough money to have my own house with like a ton of adaptive adjustments to it. And I've seen like other people on YouTube who have that, and it's like amazing some of the stuff that people come up with. Driving, there's like hand controls that they can put for somebody with my limited amount of upper body strength to be able to do that. So I'd really like that. And maybe one day flying a plane. Personally, just for fun, I'd like to be able to play guitar again. I played before my accident, so I'd really like to be able to play like maybe with like a slide, like put like some kind of slide in like my left hand and use that to play with. Holding the slide, like you can lay the guitar down on your lap and just like rake the slide across the string, and you don't have to push on the fretboard. You just like have it right on the string and you're good to go. And it has a really pretty sound. For newly injured people, some advice that I would offer to them is to go online and find different groups. Like on Facebook, there's a lot of groups for people who've had spinal cord injuries, and you can ask your own questions to the group, but you can also, if there's a certain topic you have in mind, you can, within the group, there's like a search bar, and you can type in the topic and it'll pull up old posts related, so you can like do your homework. Things that are important to me, like in my life, that are more important than walking, is to be as self-sufficient as I can be, and not isolate myself and say I want to be independent as possible and like shove people aside. Like, I don't want that. Like, I've learned that that's isolating, but like I do want to try to be as self-sufficient as I can and be interdependent with people, like, be able to have good relationships and be a good role model to my nieces and nephews, and doing some of the regular things that other 30 some people are doing, and challenging myself and proving it to myself that, I can do things that I want and hope for.